Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. It seems like cooler heads have prevailed so far today. We haven't heard anything from Jerry Jones being outlandish or going after Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons back on the practice field, wearing his jersey and working with the coaches and things, meeting with Matt Eberflus and stuff. And you wonder if, there was some discussions or anything behind the scenes, to reassure Micah that, okay, listen, we got off on a bad foot here. Let's get this shit together. We're going to get this thing done. Relax, okay? We're going to be okay. And this was 53 minutes ago. As Cowboys stretch to start practice, Micah Parsons on the sideline in jersey and hoodie, basketball shoes, no cleats, holding a football. Micah Parsons spending some time with coach, defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, and Micah Parsons in socks talking to Cowboys. Matt Eberflus next to defensive line drills. So that's where we're seeing him on the sidelines, not doing too much anything. But we did get Brian Schottenheimer, who is saying, he's still participating in meetings and he's showing up and everything else. And so far we haven't heard of him saying anything about wanting to go elsewhere. In fact, I want to go through and I want to listen to some of Brian Schottenheimer's press conference. I love listening to Brian Schottenheimer so much more than Mike McCarthy. And so I want to get a little bit of this in. Let's go to the tape.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Actually, afternoon.
It's afternoon, sorry.
Not yet. Okay.
Almost getting
Touche.
there. Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Your thoughts on what would you like to see from your team in tomorrow's scrimmage?
Execution. Physicality, kind of our identity. I want to see us, play smart, play physical, play with the effort that is expected, and then there's going to be mistakes, but I'd love to see some young guys really take some big steps up, and I'm excited to go against a different colored jersey, but some different scheme. It's fun to have to change gears and do that. So, but really just kind of see our identity come into vision.
The way you guys have been practicing and what we will see tomorrow will be?
Well, hopefully not much different, in terms of the effort, the energy. I expect that never changes. I mean, that's the expectation. Calvin, we don't want to change what we're doing. You put another jersey out there, you don't change the way you work, you don't change the way you run to the ball, you don't change the way you try to block and close on the ball and contain things on defense. So again, I don't expect it'll be much different. Hopefully the pace is one that's exciting.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. Speaking of the plan, will you do more 7-on-7, 1-on-1 drills? I mean, because I know what you do is unique, maybe not the same with what they do with their practice. Have y'all talked about that kind of plan?
We have. Yeah, Sean and I worked through it a couple days ago. He and I will jump on a call this afternoon just to finalize everything. You'll see a 7-on-7 period today here with us today, but tomorrow it's mostly team stuff. Try to get the 11-on-11 stuff going. Their offensive and defensive line, obviously, going against our offensive defensive line. Those are things that you want to see because of the matchups and things like that. But no 7-on-7, mostly team drills.
And I know you've talked to your team about fighting. Historically, or at least in a few times that they've had practice against the Rams, been a lot of fights. I don't know.
That's around the league. Yeah, that's around the league. I was in River Falls a long time ago when it was a melee. Yeah.
I don't know if you made a point to readdress that with your team and talk to Sean about that and how y'all going to handle that.
Yeah, it doesn't change. It doesn't change who we are. You can't throw punches. It's whether you're practicing against yourself, whether you're practicing against the Rams, whether you're practicing against the Ravens. In a game, you can't throw punches. And again, will it get chippy? Maybe. Two really physical teams going at it head to head, but don't go over the line. Play to the edge, but don't go over the edge. And that's the message that's constant, no matter what we're doing and however we're competing.
All right, Todd Archer, ESPN. What will Micah do today? Will be on the field, and How's he been in the meetings in the last few days?
Been really good. I think you'll see a lot of the same things he's been doing. The meetings have been really good. Like I said, what you see from him is the coaching piece of it and all that he's doing, diving into the other guys. And I don't think you'll see much different. But, again, very engaged, ask good questions. And, I don't think that's going to change.
Maybe not a big deal, but he came out and he wasn't in his practice jersey.
Yeah, not a big deal. I mean, we want all of our guys to be the same. And, again, there's usually a reason if a guy's not in that. But, again, for the most part, we're a team. We're going to always act like a team. And, usually you'll see them all in gear.
With the Athletic, any update on Tyler Smith?
Yeah, he's doing fine. Kind of a maintenance thing, nothing that should prevent him from playing. But, yeah, he should be fine. Maybe a little bit limited today. I'll go figure that out when I get done here. But nothing that we're concerned about.
Is he looked at as just a tackle, or is there tackle guard there?
No, he's got tackle guard flex. I think, John, he can, he's more comfortable on the right, so we'll start him out over there on the right playing some tackle and maybe a little bit inside. But for him, it's a ramp-up period. He's no different than, when you bring these players in, you got to kind of ramp them up. They're not quite ready to go. Like Kenneth Murray missed a couple of days, so he comes back, and you don't immediately throw him back into practice. You start with individual. You start doing things like that, getting them moving, doing football moves and things like that. And so LC will get a few reps today, and it'll be good to see him get back out there and shake some of the rust off.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. Obviously, these reps for Tyler Guyton would have been so valuable here in training camp. With him being out, how much value can he get in these mental reps and in meetings?
This is
has to, he has to. And it could be watching. It could be the film. Like I said, I think, we've got some good projects that he's working on right now in terms of watching his one-on-one pass sets and his one-on-one run blocks from the spring and from early in training camp. So, you have to make up for that, lack of getting the reps. But again, the coaches do a great job. They stay very involved, and they get a lot of questions. You actually get more questions when you're not performing in meetings than you do if you are, because you just want to keep them into it mentally. And it's very, very different when you're not getting the full speed reps that he's missing out on. But again, very comfortable with him, with what he's getting. And we've been talking to him a lot about just, attacking the rehab. And he's done a great job, and he's already moving a lot better.
TAs, you had mentioned three guys that y'all were cross-training on the offensive side, Turpin at running back, Lipke at tight end, and then Deuce at receiver. We've been able to see some of the Turpin and Lipke packages, but since Deuce has been in and out with the hamstring, is there still some things that y'all want to see on the field with Deuce that y'all have installed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, his football instincts are off the chart. So intelligent, can play multiple positions. He's really, a running back / slot. So like you look for those slot matchups and things like that, whether it's option routes or, change of direction routes where you're trying to use his quickness and explosiveness to, match up on a lesser player, whether it's a linebacker or a big boundary safety that, he should be able to have a step on. And of course, his quickness and suddenness is pretty special. But again, all those things, they're installed, and when he gets back, we'll start, using those again. But he kind of knows his role and how he'll be used. And we've got a package going in today that we call where we put two halfbacks in the game. Those normally would be his reps. But again, when you don't get those opportunities, it goes to somebody else. So you'll see Jaden Blue do some of those things, and great opportunity for us to evaluate JB.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com. It's first game week. I know the practice tomorrow makes things a little interesting, but what do you try to do throughout the week to get your guys ready? What's that game week process look like with you? Is it pretty standard? Do you try to add some wrinkles to it from what you've learned in the past?
Yeah, Tommy, that's a good question. I mean, we're not changing. Our focus right now is on us. We're going to go line up and play on Saturday, and I'll get more detail into that as we get going through the week. But, our focus right now is on all things Cowboys. And let's have a great practice today. Let's have a great scrimmage tomorrow. We're not doing, the typical, okay, hey, this is first, second down. We're not doing that. We're still in the install phase of what we're trying to get done and focus on, who we are and what our true identity is on offense, defense. We're learning our players. We're learning our scheme. What do we do well? What do we like? What do we not like? What do we need to adjust? And again, we probably won't show a whole lot in the preseason, to be honest with you.
And then you guys have the beach day and families.
We're going to leave it right there. It's funny because right now everybody's got their own opinion on what is what and who is who. So this is Dan You're Lousy basically saying that this feels different, that this is more personal than CD or Dak or whatever. You know what? I can recall, Zeke who. So I don't know if it gets more personal than that. But let's listen to this before we get out of here.
At the end of the day, it's cash, though. At the end of the day, it's money. That's literally all that matters at the end of this. The thing that is, I guess, most interesting about it for me is he's been through this with Dak Prescott, and he's been through this with CeeDee Lamb. He didn't talk about them that way. Right. He didn't. It was stupid in the media. He didn't talk about him that way. And I go back to, why is he talking about Micah this way? Like, why did he make the comment, well, even if I sign him, he may not be there? He didn't do that to Dak, and he didn't do that to CD. So that's why, and I know Cowboys fans are probably like, this is same old, same. It's different. This one feels different, and it was also the easiest. It was the easiest to get it done, and that's why this one is a bigger problem, because there is a remnant of a personal dislike. There is a feel and smell of like a personal, I don't really like you that much. And I do think that he did like Dak Prescott, the person, and he did like CeeDee Lamb, the person. And this one's.
I'm going to stop right there, because I don't ever remember Dak Prescott hanging out with Jerry Jones in his suite watching football games. I can't say that I've ever seen that. So, yeah, Dan, whatever. They'll get this thing done. And I think cooler heads are definitely prevailing right now that, everybody said, hey, let's take a step back. Let's be cool, and we'll get this thing done. All righty, good people. I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually beginning to start working on this thing now. You watch. The tone has changed. All right, peace out.